Hi guys, this is Tina. Welcome back to my channel. So we're here for another one of our 3 items in 30 minutes alphabet junk journal challenge. So we're up to letter F. So I've obviously been giving it some thought. There was obviously, you know, several options. And in the end I came up with file folders. Now, the obvious thing would be an altered file folder, but obviously we're going for 3 things in 30 minutes. So I think that would be slightly too ambitious. So what we're going to do is just do, you know, file folders, the ones that, you know, you can make yourself, and, you know, different things that you can then do with them. So I've brought along my envelope punch board. Obviously, if you don't have one of these, you know, you really don't necessarily need one, because all you're actually doing is making these little notches, you know, to make a file folder shape. So if you haven't got one, you can just kind of draw these, to be honest. You can find some templates on the internet and things, you know, or you could just draw one, get it to a point where you're happy, and then, you know, use that as your template. You know, but I'm going to just use my punch board. So if you're joining in for the you know, 3 in 30 challenge, you're going to need either your template, or if you're doing it freehand, that's fine, or if you prefer, you know, with your envelope punch board, you're going to need some paper. So I've just got here, I've got some book pages. So I've got these that have already been stuck together, which obviously, as you can see, it's a kind of bigger page. I've got this tiny page here. And then this one, which I haven't folded this specifically for this. This just happened to be in amongst my desk ephemera. And it just happened to be folded. And I thought, oh, that would be, you know, just ideal for this challenge. So, you know, just a smallish piece of card, you know, a sort of scrap of card really that you can get using. Obviously, you're going to need your glue, you're going to need your scissors, and then anything that you're going to want to decorate, you know, your file folders with. So whatever that takes your fancy really, you know, lace, you know, printables, stamped images, your probably distress ink, anything at all that you're going to need, and obviously your scissors. I think that's everything that you're going to want or need. Yeah, I think so. So I'm going to now get my stopwatch going. So, okay, so it's there. I don't know why it always comes up with 4. Anyway, so ready? Let's get editing that. And for some reason I have to do this, pressing it, you know, 1 minute at a time. Ready, steady, go. Right, we're 10 seconds in. So if I take my first book page, so I'm just going to trim this down slightly around the edges, because, you know, it's quite tatty at the edges where obviously I've stuck 2 book pages together, but in the reverse way, if that makes sense. So I had like a tatty edge on both sides, whereas obviously if you stick them together that have come out of the book together, they're going to obviously only have 1 tatty edge, but this one had 2. So I'll just neaten it up a little bit. So I hope you guys are joining in the challenge and enjoying it. I know I've said this every time, but, you know, I'm not sure whether this is something that people would deem as fun or actually quite stressful. I mean, I find it stressful, but oddly quite exhilarating as well, and quite, you know, adrenaline pumping. So, yeah, I hope that you guys are finding that as well. So what I'm going to do is just punch my, and obviously I want it this way round really, so I'm going to punch my first notch, oops, here, and then I'm just going to go, you know, I'm not going to measure or anything, I'm just going to go about 2.5 inches over, and then because I'm very sloppy and don't measure or anything, I'm just going to hold my thumb roughly where I want the next one to go. And then again, move that along to around about the 2.5 inch mark. Okay. Put my punch board out of the way, and then just going to then, you know, cut my ends off where it would have a straight, you know, if it were a file folder, where it would then be straight kind of cardstock. So just do that on, you know, either end. And then, you know, people do these different ways. So some people like to have them lower down, you know, that you'd have like that with the other bit folded up. Some people like to have them kind of flush with each other. You know, so completely your choice how you like yours. So I'm going to have this one flush with each other like that. So I'm going to pop that to one side and probably, obviously getting a bit better at doing lots of things because, you know, lots of the same things at once. Because I think the efficient thing to do now is actually punch my other pieces. So let me just trim these down because they're not quite, you know, matching at either end. Okay, and I just trim across the top like that. Okay, so, and again, you know, just kind of at the edge, and then again I'm just going to go for around the 2.5 inch mark, and then again what I will do is turn it up and take it roughly there again, which actually I've just thought I don't even need to do that really, because it would be at the 2.5 inch mark, I think, if that makes sense. So yeah, yes, I don't even need to do that, I don't think. So just trim my little bits down, and then same here. Okie dokie, that's that one. And then we'll just do the final one. So this one, obviously it's a smaller book page, so we'll do the first notch here. Now, is 2.5 inches going to be a bit big for this? So I might just do this at about 2 inches, because obviously this is a smaller piece. So yeah, because it's smaller, you know, probably want to just do, oops, about 2 inches, I think. So like that. Okay, let's get rid of the punch board out of the way. Okay, just trim this down. Okay, oops. And then again, this one. Okay, so I've got my 3 file folders. Let me keep my sort of clock so that it's within, you know, spotting distance, so that I can kind of see. Whoa, just throwing this around. I'll spot the deliberate mistake there. Right, well, I wouldn't have probably chosen to have it this way round, but I've obviously, you know, done my thingamajigglies this way, and if I popped it the other way around so these were on the left, my text would be upside down. So I would just do them like this. It's very hard to concentrate when you're doing these timed things, isn't it? So I don't know whether everyone else is finding that. Right, let me just replace my piece of paper under here so it's a kind of clean piece, really, and you're not having to just look at all that stuff. Oops. Okay, so this one here, let's just decorate this one up first. So what we could do is, I'm just wondering, so I've got the 3, I want to make one as a stitched pocket. So let's have a look, which one would be better as the stitched pocket. I mean, to be honest, probably this one, I think, or this one. The only reason I say this one is because it's got obviously the you know, pictures inside, which I wasn't keen. So if we did that one, and this one, what we could do, if we ink this bit on the inside, because obviously this hasn't been coffee dyed or anything like that. So I'll just stink around it a bit so it's a bit more interesting to look at. Okay. And then what I think I'll do, and this is where I discover I haven't got any coffee dyed paper whatsoever, which is a bit of a nuisance. I don't think I have. Oh, what's this? Okay, because what I thought we could do is either make this like a little booklet, but because I haven't got my sewing machine, that's probably not that practical. So I think what I'll do is just make a little kind of flippy pad in here. So I actually shouldn't have folded that either now, but oh, never mind. Let's just go for this. Right, so I'm going to cut it down sort of here. Check that's about the right length. And then we want to obviously take down quite a bit off of the sides. Oops. Like that. Okay, that's not too thick, so that's okay actually. So I'll just trim these in slightly more. Like that. And then we might want to just trim the length down a little bit too. Okie dokie. Right, so the reason that I obviously have opted for this option instead is because I haven't got my sewing machine, and so like this I can just staple these in like a little pad. So I'll just get my stapler and we'll just staple them in. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, so they look cute, don't they? So I'm just going to ink around this a little bit. So as I say, this is just a scrap that was laying around my desk. It must have been there for a long time because it's a long time since I've used this paper, but this was, I think, a Die Cuts with a View paper pad. I think it was called the Luxury Stack, and I had it in just the 8x8 size. But really pretty, because I don't know whether the camera's picking that up, but it's got a pearly kind of finish to it, so it's really pretty. Right, let's see what we're going to decorate this up with. So let's have a look around and see what I've got laying around that might just, you know, complement it quite well. Let's have a look. Maybe something from here. Right, I've got some pieces here left over from my TikTok kit, which I thought would maybe go quite well. Or I know that on the reverse of that, I've actually got some Spring Birds pieces. And I think I might have some more Spring Birds somewhere. I'm just quickly having a rummage, so sorry about the noise. On the reverse, I've got these images. They might be a bit too dark, a bit too blue, I think. So we'll go with these ones, I think. Just see, I've got a couple of other sheets of this, so just see what I've got. It would be nice if I've got some of the fussy cuts from this kit as well. I just happen to have some down beside me. So I'll have a look in a second and see whether I have. Let's have a look. Oh, what have I got down here on the floor? I thought I bought some of the fussy cuts back up, you know, because I'd obviously had them with me when I was working with that, and now I can't see them anywhere. That's just typical, isn't it? I don't want to just waste all of my time looking for them, because obviously time is of the essence in these challenges, isn't it? So, right, so I might just have to crack on with what I have got here that's, you know, immediately visible to me. Right, so I know we've used her before, but I have got Mary Mary here, so let's just cut her out. I'll just do a check in a second after I've cut her as to where we are time-wise. Right, I've just glanced over. 17:31 we have left, so not doing too badly, but I can't really afford to dilly-dally much more. So, oops, I think I've just nearly cut her foot off in the rush. So, when I thought, oh, you know, we'll do these challenges, I thought, well, 30 minutes is quite a bit, to be honest, you know. But wow, they are very tight, you know, it's very tight, isn't it? And obviously there will be weeks where, you know, certainly I don't complete the challenge in the time. Yeah, it's quite hard to actually get your pieces done in 30 minutes, I think. We've got her. Could just kind of decorate her a little bit like that. Let's just ink her up because she's got a couple of kind of white bits. Just pop her there. And then do you want some of this light behind her? Maybe that's too blue. Oh dear, now you see I am dilly-dallying, even though I said, oh, can't afford to do that too much. Here I am doing exactly what I said. Right, perhaps what I should do is use a bit of the book page. So let's just tear that down. Right, I have just glanced at the clock again, and we're down to 15:33. So to be fair, this may be going to be that week, or that challenge that I fail. And who'd have thought it? Because it started out pretty well. But it just goes to show how just a bit of kind of dithering around with the embellishments can just literally halt everything. Right, let's just crack on, because otherwise I'm just not going to be able to do this in the time. So let's just go with this. So we're going to stick the book page down like that. And pop some doily down, I think, like that. Okay. Then I'll just pop her down. I might just quickly ink around that book page a bit, but probably not the doily. So I'll just stick her down. Yeah, you definitely can't afford to waste any time looking for things, can you, in these challenges? So, you know, hence, you know, you might not go with the things that you would normally have chosen, but obviously time is of the essence. So you just have to kind of make a quick decision and just then, you know, go with it, really. So that's how I'm finding it anyway. So should we just have a little bit of lace down here? Again, I'll just cut that kind of strip off the top. So we just pop that there. Just pop that on with my fabric glue. Come on. Like that. Okay, press that down with a wipe. Then do we want a bit of bling on there? Probably not the gold. What about the pearly? Oh no, where is the pearly trim? Oh, there it is. I thought, well, that's strange. I just saw it somewhere. Let's just try a little bit of this. See if it just kind of finishes her off. Yeah, so I'm just going to pop that there. I mean, obviously, you know, this isn't necessarily what I would have done had I had longer. But, you know, I'm aware I've got 2 other pieces to decorate yet. And I'm down to like 12.5 minutes. So I need to just crack on a little bit. Right, so that's her. Let's pop that one out of the way. Okay, so the next one. So this one, what I will do, I'm just going to ink this up and then I'm going to actually have this as a pocket. So I will be stitching this up. But obviously I'm not going to do that on video because, you know, my sewing machine's not here. Same old, same old. So, yeah, you know, I'll have to do that after the challenge is finished. But so long as I get the, you know, the bulk of it done, then, you know, I think that's fair enough. Because obviously you can't do things if, you know, if you haven't got the sewing machine or whatever, can you? So I could have the doily down there. Now, just again, just grabbing things that I just happen to have laying around because I don't want to, you know, be mucking about. I wonder whether I could have had that there. Doily kind of out there. I've got some of that lovely washi tape that we made. Got that one that we used the Mod Podge. I wonder whether I could have that somewhere. Oops. Or we could have this bit. Oh, decisions, decisions. I'm not sure this is quite right because it's quite big on there. About just a rose and a butterfly or something. That might be quite nice, mightn't it? Actually, maybe like that. And then I could run a bit of lace. Oh yeah, like that, I think. So I'm going to just glue this one on here. Now obviously I am aware that this is hanging off, but the point is this is going to be a pocket, so that's not really going to matter too much because obviously it would be glued down, so it wouldn't actually be a movable piece, if that makes sense. Okay. You know, so it doesn't matter if it's got an overhang because it's not going to be opening. Right, cut my butterfly a bit. And the only reason I'm doing this inking really is because the book pages are quite yellow. You know, just that's what those book pages are like. You know, I haven't done that to them. That's just how they were. There's some Reader's Digest pages, but they just happen to have quite a yellow effect to them. So, you know. And then we'll just take our lace trim, let's cut that down. And then we'll just cut that there. Okay, right, so let's stick the lace on now. And then I'm just going to pop that flower down there. Actually, I might just tuck it in slightly, like that. And then we're going to have the butterfly. Like that or like that? Probably like that, actually. So, again, I just use the wet glue for that and pop that on like that. Do I want a bit of pearl in the centre of the butterfly? Oh yeah, that looks pretty, doesn't it? So let's just pop that on. Okay. So that one's really pretty, came together really nicely, really easily. And obviously at the end of the challenge, I will just go down and stitch that, you know, I don't mean at the end, but you know, after we've finished in slow time, I'll just stitch that together as a little pocket piece like that. So that's that one. Right, the next one is this one, which is a bit larger. Now, what we could do is have this as a kind of opening book. Sorry for the excessive use of kind of, again. I've just sort of noticed that I'm saying that constantly again. It's the pressure of the rush. Right, just see what I've got here again to decorate this piece up with. What have I got? I have actually. Just see whether these bits would be nice on here instead. They might be a little bit big for this piece actually as well. Unless I have that off to the side. Could do that, couldn't I? And actually got some black lace here, which might be quite nice. What do you guys think? Is that quite attractive? And then what I was going to do, but now I can't seem to find any coffee dyed paper lying around, was, let me see whether that's a big enough piece. It's not really. But again, so I might have to do this in slow time. What I thought I would do is just make a couple of pieces in there for journaling. So again, I'm still just on the hunt for some coffee dyed paper. I can't see any anywhere, I'm afraid. So, oh, here we go. Okay. Right, crisis averted. So, again, if I just fold that in, this is just a quicker way of doing it. Cut that down here. Okay, my gosh, I've made a terrible job of cutting that. I'll just trim that down there. Okay. No, it needs to come in more. That one. Oh my gosh, this is such a rush. The pressure. But fun. Fun, fun, fun. I hope you guys think it's fun too. Because I'm filming these ahead, you know, I don't know obviously at this point how they're going down. And yeah, I've just got visions of me just maybe just crafting along on my own, and people finding this just too chaotic and stressful to actually be watching. Right, now if I'd have had time, I would have probably rounded the corners here of my paper that I'm sticking in, but to be honest, I'm just kind of against the clock, so I'm just doing it very fast. You know, so just to save time, I'm just going with it as it is, which is fine. You know, I don't think it's a problem. I just mean, you know, if I were doing this in an ordinary time frame, I probably would have just actually, you know, glued it, rounded the corners. Right, so I've got this piece here now. No, too yellow. Right, let's just pop a couple of bits of black stamp in, because if we're having my what do you call it, so I might just do a bit in here just to tie it together. And then what I'll do is I'm just going to ink around this a bit. It's got to be a bit careful if that stays on, because even though it's not really generally smudgy, I'm aware that this paper has got a slight sheen to it, so you know, it may be that it's not instantly dried. Just do the inside a bit as well. Like that. Just for the continuity from the outside to the inside, really. And then I'm going to glue this on here, but what I might do is do the lace trim first. So I'll just ink this up ready. And then I'm just going to get the lace, pop that along there, because I want to have this glued, you know, on top of the lace. So we just stick this down like that. Trim that down there. Whoa. Okay, just dab off the excess glue like that. Excuse my rattling of my jars that are balancing my iPad. I have talked about this before, but for those who haven't heard me ever say, my iPad setup, it's slightly precarious and just it's balanced on a child's chair, on some books, you know, on one of those hat boxes. So it's balanced up on quite a bit of stuff. And so every time I'm then pressing on the desk quite hard, it's obviously shaking that about. So yeah, not ideal, but you know, it works okay. It's you know, doing the job. So yeah, right, now let's just have a quick look here what I've got. Okay, right, so I'm going to glue this down. So I might just glue this side here with some fabric glue, and then we'll just glue the rest. Now I'm aware that this is going to be hanging off and I'm going to need to trim it down. So, you know, what I'm not aware of is obviously at the point where it's going to be hanging off. So I might have to touch the glue up in a minute. There we go. Press that in. Oh my gosh. 55 seconds now. Right. Let's trim this down. Like that. Just going to ink my butterfly up, and then I'm just going to ink this rose up to pop inside. So again, just for the continuity really, just going to pop that, I think, here. So again, we'll just glue that down. Oh, I need to hurry. Well, to be fair, I have got 10 seconds leeway because that timer just seems to start 10 seconds in. So I'll allow myself that. Oh, 2 seconds, right. Okay. Okay, so counting down. And I will put some bling on this butterfly. Let's stop that. Okay. Time's up. Wow, wasn't that just to the wire? Oh, got there eventually. My gosh, they really are you know, tight time wise, aren't they? So right, let's have a look at what we've created. So in slow time, I'm not going to do this now because I don't want to be cheating, and I notice that I am cheating every single time I do something after the you know, the alarm has finished. So I won't do it now, but I will do this later. Oh, well, I can't actually even find any to show you. Oh, I've got this, but it's not really going to do it because it's only a 2. But I will then just pop some bling into my butterfly on this piece here. So obviously this is not a journal page. I don't think it's even A4, you know, A5 size now, because this was the piece that I just cut down to line this with. But that's one of the file folders that we've got. Obviously that bling is not attached, but really pretty, and you know, obviously opens kind of to the side like that. So that's the first one. Then we've got this one here, which would be a pocket on the page. If you remember, I'm going to actually stitch this down either side just on the sewing machine, so that would just be, you know, a top loading pocket there at the top. So really pretty there. And then the final one that we did, again, I mean, this one is a kind of flippy pad inside, so it would be very much, you know, individual choice whether you actually had this stuck into the journal or whether you had this as a little, you know, pull out. You know, I think either would work, you know, really quite well. But again, another kind of different feel for the file folders. So it's frantic doing those challenges. So yeah, but I hope that you've all had fun. I hope that you're all kind of joining in and, you know, managing to get some stuff done. And yeah, thank you very much. We're obviously up to G for the next one. So I will hopefully see you all again when you join me next time. Thanks a lot. Bye.